Hello everybody and welcome to Amphlett Reviews, back with another Hong Kong content review, doing a Jackie Chan film for you guys and review for you, and to give you a bit of awareness as well on Who Am I, released in 1988. It's great to talk about a Jackie Chan film. I don't think I've done nowhere near as enough on this channel, and it's the weird thing I do mention a few times on the channel is that when I started to do Hong Kong kind of watching, getting into Hong Kong cinema during COVID so many years ago, I was kind of watching so many of his films, thanks to the kind of the 88 film releases, Eureka, various different editions. I was pumping myself through a lot of them, which I do own a lot on the collection, but I've not really talked a huge much about them on the channel because I didn't decide to do videos until much later on, after I've already kind of gone through the ones that I like and don't like. Essentially, I might try and do a retroactive kind of backtrack on that at some point, but definitely talk about the ones that I absolutely love and kind of celebrate on the channel. And very similar to kind of Police Story 4 First Strike, which have had various different hard access cuts or meddling between kind of distribution companies throughout since release in terms of cinema up until even till now. Famous one obviously being the kind of Police Story 4, which is now available on the Blu-ray edition. I think it will get a Warner Bros. Release down the line. And the fact that even now in 2025, we are still struggling to get some of those much harder access kind of Jackie Chan films on a physical release, fully uncut, with the options between the theatrical and the Hong Kong version, the original tenor version. Bum Bum the Bunks will be the holy grail one up to this point. That will be the hardest one, I think, because Warner Bros. Doesn't seem to have any hint of releasing that full Hong Kong version, which I hope it will down the line. But for this video, I'm talking about, of course, Who Am I, which is one of those ones that have slipped under the radar for me. I think I always remember watching clips or moments of the film on Channel 5 in the UK, very similar to kind of First Strike. I'm pretty sure this one was the kind of the two opposites that were constantly on Channel 5. Basically has a theatrical and Hong Kong version, as mentioned. The theatrical is a edited down version, and it basically kind of ruins the kind of the flow and the mystery of Who Am I. The storyline for Who Am I basically follows Jackie Chan's character, which also name is Jackie Chan in the film, which is actually quite funny. Even though they don't sort of confirm that necessarily, it might actually be an alias. Who knows? It's just kind of funny and ambiguous in the film anyway. But essentially, he's part of a shadow organization, Black Ops kind of unit, multinational kind of, Russians, Germany, Japanese, Korean, all sorts of kind of nationalities, working for the CIA essentially. They go into Africa to basically steal and take free scientists alongside with that mineral, and that mineral is basically extremely dangerous. We find at the start of the film that basically this kind of mineral can be a harness of great power for good and for evil. It can generate a lot of power, but also can be a very destructive, very nasty weapon. And of course, the bad guys of the film want to turn this mineral into some sort of compound for a gun-based kind of energy weapon, which is kind of very crazy and bonkers. Essentially, it's very 007 evil, essentially, which is really funny. Basically, his team is a part of that kind of unit. We don't know if Jackie Chan is essentially a bad guy or not. I don't think he's meant to be. I think he's just going to go in to rescue the scientist, air quote, and to capture the mineral safely. Something goes very, very wrong, and basically this is where the changes happen between the two different cuts. Now, within the Hong Kong version, basically Jackie wakes up, he's got injuries all over him, and basically he kind of spends a lot of time in this kind of native kind of tribe, and he's trying to piece together his kind of what the events have happened. We get various kind of flashbacks. We see the plane crash. We see kind of bodies. We see kind of various kind of small little details to see what has happened. Something's happened between capturing those kind of scientists, capturing the mineral, and then him waking up and having no idea who am I. And basically he says, who am I? Because he does not know. And that's essentially his name throughout the entire film. And even the end credits says, who am I? Even though the alias we do get at the start is Jackie Chan, which is, up in the air. And the theatrical cut of the film, for some reason, decides to reveal all of this information within the start of the film. Essentially, we're showing the entire context of that mystery very early on, and then just playing the rest of the film straight with the audience knowing everything that's happened. So there's no intrigue, there's no kind of going on the journey with Jackie, which is the original intention within the Hong Kong version. Very questionable, very silly. It does make that a shorter film, of course, because you're removing, details, and of course, as typical kind of American, versions of the film, cut down some of the native tribe and basically try and wrap the film up a little bit to make it a bit more kind of exciting, a bit more action-packed. The film does have a fair share of action within kind of car chase sequences, gunplay, of course, some great martial arts fights, of course, and various other stunts and awesome kind of set pieces. But the film is also asking for a bit of attention. It's not a traditional kind of Jackie Chan film, very similar to kind of Mr. Nice Guy, to do more collaboration with kind of Australia in terms of like government, in terms of a lot of the actors, and would do quite a few films set in Australia, various going around the world, because he basically lived there for a little bit of time. So Mr. Nice Guy, Police Story 4, which would be the third act of that film being set in Australia, and of course this film as well, Who Am I? So this is just part of his trend during the kind of the late 90s up to that point. You will see a lot of Australians putting on really bad accents and trying to be American and very over the top kind of, bad guys, which is just great for Jackie Chan and to kind of, take down and have a lot of fun with. So it's a lot of fun. It's a very cheesy film, so don't take this film seriously. Very similar to kind of the others. It's not meant to be a serious film. It's meant to be a bit of fun and adventure essentially across different kind of continents between Africa and Australia, and basically just going around the world and having a lot of fun with Jackie Chan along the way. On YouTube of all places, so on UK YouTube, or I imagine it will be anywhere essentially, you can rent this for a couple of quid, or you can purchase it for about £4. And I kid you not, and I can attest to this because we have watched it, it is the full HD version of the Hong Kong 2 hours plus, in original chronological order on YouTube of all places. It is available to rent and purchase for a couple of pounds, for about £3 to £4, depending if you want to rent it or want to own it as a digital version on YouTube right now, at least in the UK. I'm not too sure about the US or anywhere else, but me and my friend, we decided to take a gamble on this, and wow, we were surprised. I don't know if many people are aware of that. It's very rare to see something like that actually happen, where a streamer would have the full uncut version compared to anyone else, but it is available. It is there, HD, the Golden Harvest version. And being the fact that AT have been champions of Jackie Chan for the longest possible time now, with doing new releases on 4K, new restorations, doing Miracles upcoming soon, doing the Twin Dragons, I'm very confident they will get access to this film and release this on a nice kind of, Blu-ray edition with some new extras, hopefully. So hopefully, fingers crossed, one day that will happen. But for the meantime, it is available to rent and for purchase on YouTube. Fun flick, kind of action-packed Jackie Chan adventure film. It does have its kind of downtime moments. All of its action, in terms of its kind of stunt work, its action chase pieces, its fighting is really on point, really funny, really creative, and seeing the behind the scenes. From the kind of the downtown kind of fight sequences with the shoes, all the way to the rooftop sequence, which is awesome, the car chase sequences, all the stuff within kind of Africa, the landscape, the cinematography. It's really ambitious, really kind of grand, and seeing all the stuff with the native tribes at the start of the film is awesome. Just seeing Jackie Chan just have a lot of fun, embracing a new culture and seeing him in a completely different landscape and just taking the advantage of a location and just really making good use of it, having extraordinary amount of extras and kind of high production with its kind of vehicles and helicopters. It feels like a grand scale film. I think this was a really fun film for Jackie, and I think it's a really enjoyable film ultimately. That's been my thoughts and opinions of Who Am I. Please comment down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on the film? What is your favorite kind of late 90s kind of Jackie Chan films in terms of some of these kind of releases, in terms of Mr. Nice Guy, Who Am I, Police Story, various kind of other films during that time frame. Obviously going into the 2000s at that point as well. What are your thoughts on the Hong Kong version versus the theatrical? Highly recommend checking out the Hong Kong version. There will be a link in the description below for that if you want to check it out for yourself in HD for a very small price as well. So in the meantime, Amphlett Reviews, signing out.